Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everybody. I hope all of you are having a great day so far. Happy Saturday. Now this is your third stimulus check update, fourth stimulus check update, and news report. And be sure to stay until the end of this video, so I'll be going over the latest news about your social security benefits, and of course, your SSI and SSDI payments. By the way, folks, do you support a fourth stimulus check from Congress? If you do, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. So everybody, Republican Senator Mitt Romney is teaming up with several members of Congress to increase the federal minimum wage. And this is really awesome. Democratic lawmakers in the Senate definitely tried their hardest to have a minimum wage hike included in the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. But ultimately, Senate Democrats were forced to abandon plans that would help raise the federal minimum wage. In the beginning of March, the Senate parliamentarian announced that the proposed federal minimum wage increase did not meet the requirements that lawmakers had to follow to pass the stimulus bill without Republican support. So yes, folks, it looks like some of our politicians are ready to increase the federal minimum wage. Now, what do you guys think about this? Should the federal minimum wage be increased? Leave a comment down below saying yes or no. Now, Mitt Romney said that we are negotiating a minimum wage proposal, which we would ultimately take to our group of 20 and see how they react to it and then go from there. Mitt Romney also would not provide the exact timeline or what the minimum wage will be raised to. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below on this, everybody. Now, Senator Joe Manchin also has something to say about this. Joe Manchin actually voted against a $15 minimum wage provision in the relief bill. According to the Huffington Post, Senator Manchin believes the bipartisan measure would raise the minimum wage to $11 an hour. Joe Manchin has also been circulating a proposal that would increase the minimum wage to a total of $11 an hour. Now, personally, folks, I think that raising the minimum wage is a good idea. Millions of Americans could really benefit from the increase. Progressive lawmakers will definitely support a minimum wage of $15 an hour. However, Republican lawmakers would also need to support the provision in order to get it passed and made into law. Now, I also noticed that many of you guys have been forgotten about by the IRS. Some of you guys have not even received a stimulus check. Well, according to USA Today, if you are eligible for a third payment but never receive one, you can claim the recovery rebate credit on your 2021 returns next year. If you are left out from round 3 because of your 2020 tax return has not been submitted or processed in time, then you should be able to claim a credit on your 2021 taxes. I know that claiming the recovery rebate credit is not ideal, but the IRS has not provided any new updates on SSI, SSDI, VA, and survivor beneficiaries. They have not gotten a third stimulus payment yet. It is really upsetting to know that so many of you guys are being left out. But everybody, a fourth stimulus check would definitely help so many people. Millions are still struggling financially, and it has been over a year since the crisis has started. The US Census Bureau has shared that almost 30% of Americans could not cover all their household expenses in late March. About 18 million adults are still going hungry each month. Lawmakers must find a way to take more action for the good American people. The continued economic fallout is why many lawmakers are urging Joe Biden to include recurring monthly checks and automatic unemployment insurance extensions in his long-term infrastructure plan. Now, folks, it is possible that Joe Biden would include a fourth stimulus payment into his new infrastructure bill, and Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants to pass that plan by the summer. Senate Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden and Budget Committee Chair Bernie Sanders also argued that a third stimulus payment would not last many cash-strapped families long. Some lawmakers have pushed for $2,000 monthly stimulus payments, and others believe $1,000 a month could be helpful as well. What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Should we get a fourth stimulus check of $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month? Let me know down in the comments, everybody. And until next time, folks, have a great day and stay safe.
Last week, that's thanks in part to optimism around President Biden's $2 trillion infrastructure proposal. Bank of America recently said we could be headed for a, quote, golden decade for muni bonds under President Biden, especially if Congress passes this infrastructure plan. For more now on what infrastructure spending could mean for the muni bond market, let's bring in Nisha Patel, Director of Fixed Income and Portfolio Manager at Parametric. Thank you very much, Nisha, for joining us here. The muni bond market is key for so many of our viewers and listeners out there because they are looking for that tax-free income. Take us through what's driving the muni bond activity today. Is it the infrastructure optimism?
It is. And year to date, we've seen tremendous flows into municipal bond funds, into municipal bond products. Muni bonds have outperformed the respectable taxable counterparts pretty considerably, particularly in the high yield space. And I think a lot of this demand, it's driven because of the prospect of higher taxes and certainly the certainty that taxes are not going to be going down from here. Now, if you take a look at the infrastructure bill, one of the key components here is on how it's going to be paid for, which with certainty, corporate tax rates being raised is one kind of aspect of that. Now, President Biden has mentioned individual tax rates going up, but it's not directly tied to this infrastructure bill. But even for corporations, which hold about 20% of municipal bonds, which is not very well known, if their tax rates do go up considerably, I think you could also see them coming in to buy more municipal bonds.
Is it strictly because of the prospect for
security, raise the retirement age, or maybe even privatize the program? Well, I am happy to tell you that much of what you've heard is simply not true. Despite what many of my Republican colleagues are saying, let's be clear. Social Security is not going broke. Social Security has a $2.8 trillion surplus and, according to the Social Security Administration, can pay out every benefit owed to every eligible American for the next 19 years. That is not a program going broke. Further, Social Security is independently funded by the payroll tax, the 6.2% of your paycheck that you and your employer pay. That means that Social Security does not add one nickel to the deficit. It has its own source of funding. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that the Republicans forgot to pay for added trillions to the deficit and national debt, not Social Security. Now, the truth is that while we do not have a Social Security crisis today, we do have a retirement crisis, and that is a very serious problem. All over this country, millions of Americans, people who have worked their entire lives, are wondering if they will ever be able to retire with any shred of dignity. The sad truth is that, as a result of the collapse of our middle class and declining wages, more than half of older workers between the ages of 55 to 64 have no retirement savings. Imagine that.
Well, good afternoon. The Prime Minister's brought the sun out, so we can do about anything. Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for being here. It's been my pleasure to welcome Prime Minister Suga to the White House. This is our first in-person meeting here, the first head of state that I've asked in my administration to come to the White House. Yoshi, thank you for making the long trip to Washington. We've already met several times virtually at a G7 meeting and a Quad Leaders Summit, but I greatly appreciate the chance to spend time with you in person and to exchange our ideas face to face. There's no substitute for face-to-face discussions. We are still taking COVID precautions, being careful, but our commitment to meet in person is indicative of the importance, the value we both